This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Monday, August 8th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From Reuters, Chinese and Taiwanese warships shadow each other as drills due to end. 4 days of Chinese military drills came to a scheduled close yesterday in the wake of a visit by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan, a visit that was welcomed by the Taiwanese government, questioned by the U.S. government, both welcomed and criticized by Taiwanese people, and condemned by the Chinese government as a, quote, political stunt, end quote. Stunt though it may have been, the Chinese government initially responded with a series of military drills, then, reportedly egged on by criticism of the government by popular Chinese nationalists on social media, expanded military exercises to include missiles fired over Taiwan, some of which landed in Japanese waters, and what seemed to be a full-on trial run of an invasion of the island nation. They also announced the end of some collaborative agreements between China and the U.S. on issues ranging from international peace efforts to climate change. By all indications, this sequence of events was alarming for pretty much everyone, and there's a non-zero chance the Chinese government will walk back some of their recent announcements now that the online mob has been sated. But it may also be a preview of things to come in the region, as an increasingly confident China attempts to shore up its strength and reputation while also handling potential near-future threats at a moment of international geopolitical and military turmoil. From the Wall Street Journal, Amazon buying Roomba maker iRobot for $1.7 billion. Amazon has announced that it will pay $61 per share for iRobot, the maker of the popular Roomba robot vacuum cleaner, among other things, in an all-cash deal that adds up to around $1.7 billion. If this purchase makes it through regulatory scrutiny, which isn't a certainty, it would mark the 4th largest acquisition Amazon has made after their $13.7 billion purchase of Whole Foods, $8.5 billion paid for MGM, and the agreement it made last month to acquire One Life Healthcare for $3.9 billion. iRobot is reportedly struggling right now, which is part of what made them an appealing target, and their technology, which maps out the homes of customers in order to avoid bumping into walls and furniture, could help Amazon gather more data about customers, like the size of their home, which can then be combined with other data, like recent purchases made and voice commands issued to their Alexa-powered Echo devices, to better target those customers for ads and promotions. And from the New York Times, U.S. job growth unexpectedly soared in July. Despite the Fed's best efforts, U.S. employers added about 528,000 jobs on a seasonally adjusted basis, which is more than double what most forecasters had predicted, the report would say. This is both good and bad news, and it's actually been pretty confusing for many economic analysts, as more jobs means the economy is, in some ways at least, doing great, and the employment rate dropped to 3.5%, which is also fantastic, a 50-year low, in fact. It's less ideal in the sense that the Fed is hoping to cool the economy down in order to reduce the inflation rate. And so, while these are strong numbers, they also make it more likely that the Fed will continue aggressively raising interest rates in the short term, which could in turn trigger a sharp economic contraction at some point, which they hope to avoid. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts, at understandery.com.